I thought it was the berries they were after, but it was the bugs. I wouldn't have known this if I hadn't actually taken a video of the warblers in the Mayday tree. Now, I could have finished this video several days ago, but I just can't look away. I keep seeing new species of migrating warblers. Despite what others might say, the G9 Mark II is still a very viable option for bird photography in 2025, even with this old version of the 100 to 400mm lens. But I also want to give a shout out to the Lumix 100 to 300mm lens. I get asked all the time which I recommend. More on that later. Hey, it's Marlene. If you're new here, welcome. I've been teaching photography since the turn of the 21st century, and I did all my formal training and education in the last century. Yes, I've shot a ton of film too, and I've also taught color and black and white film developing and color and black and white printing at the college level. Back in the 90s, I shot editorial photography for cycling magazines, and I've shot a ton of skateboarding too. These days, I'm into astrophotography, birding, and testing out gear for Lumix and other brands. It's migration season again, and the perfect time of year to test out various combinations of my gear. In this video, I'll show you photos and video clips from the Lumix G9 Mark II, the original OM-1, and the 100 to 300 Lumix, and the 100 to 400 PanaLeica lenses. The stars of the show are the many warblers passing through the region on their trek across North America. These birds are tiny and a challenge to photograph. They're smaller than a common sparrow, but slightly larger than a red-breasted nuthatch. Warblers hide in the trees and hop around quickly between branches. They are a perfect test of my skills and the capability of these cameras. I was between 1 and 5 meters away from the birds most of the time. That's about 3 to 16 feet. And on bright days when I was shooting video, I used the Freewell -3 ND magnetic filter. So the settings I started with both cameras was shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second, auto ISO, standard color profile or natural. What else have I got going on here? Autofocus continuous. And in this case, I had animal detection on the Lumix and bird detection on the Olympus, on the OM camera. Usually I shot at the biggest aperture, which in the case of this lens is f4 if I'm at 100mm, and f6.3 if I'm at 400 millimeters. For the other lens, the 100 to 300, it goes as well from f4 to f5.6 because it only goes to 300. So basically, they're the same speed of lenses exactly. As for video, I shot in 4K 30, 8-bit, because, you know, I'm not making Hollywood movies here. I'm making YouTubes, and I don't really need like super high video quality because people are just watching it on mostly small screens. Not too worried about that. If I was making, you know, Hollywood movies or even like documentaries for, you know, television production and stuff like that, I would use a better video quality, but I feel that for YouTube, 8-bit is fine. But I do like the 4K because then I can get away with a little bit of cropping. Does the 100 to 300mm lens hold up? Well, this is my first long telephoto lens and my gateway to birding, and I thought I'd give it another chance. I was actually going to sell it. Focus speed is comparable to the 100 to 400, and they both have power OIS. That's optical image stabilization. It's not quite as sharp as the 100 to 400, but it's half the price. So base your purchase on your budget and reach that you need. And definitely check out the used market for both lenses. One thing I don't like about my copy of the 100 to 400mm lens is that it's very tight to turn the zoom ring, especially when you're zooming to a longer focal length. And it's worse in cold weather. Now, I don't have that problem with the 100 to 300mm, and I heard that it has been fixed with the Mark II version of the 100 to 400. But I haven't tested that out for myself. These are some photos and clips from the OM-1 Mark I and the 100 to 400mm. The stabilization is not as good as the G9 II with the native PanaLeica lens. I don't have any Olympus lenses to test out today. In general, both cameras performed quite well. I found the Lumix had better stabilization, but that's probably due to using native lenses. I also found the Lumix picked focus up quicker of the small birds, especially when they're buried in the leaves in between branches. And one of the reasons for that is because I have my AF near and far buttons set up. So if birds are far behind branches, I push the AF far, and near if they're in the front of the branches. I've got a whole video on how I set that up, so I will link that in the video description. I mean, any camera would be challenged with tiny birds in trees. So if you're a content creator and you need video of birds and wildlife as well as photos, then the G9 Mark II would be more versatile. So with the G9 Mark II, you can shoot what's called open gate, 6K open gate. So what that does is it uses the full area of the 4/3 sensor. And the advantages of open gate, and you may have heard this before, is that you can crop to vertical and get the extra resolution, so the extra height on your frame, top and bottom. Because when you're shooting 16:9, of course, it's narrower than the sensor, and the sensor area is just that much higher and lower, and so you get more resolution when you're cropping to vertical. So it's a bit more versatile. Now, one thing that I do caution you about is sometimes I shoot open gate and then I forget that, oh, I actually need this for YouTube, and I don't give myself enough room around the edges. So if you're shooting open gate, just keep that in mind. Don't go in too tight. If you're a fan of OM systems and have OM lenses, then you may want to check out the newer OM cameras like the OM-1 Mark II or the OM-3. I mean, I'm using an older OM camera, so that could make a difference as well, although it is kind of the same vintage as the G9 Mark II. I haven't used either of those newer cameras, but my friend Emily Talpen has, and she's got some great videos on how to set up your camera. In fact, I used her cheat sheets to set up my OM-1 for shooting birds and wildlife. Now, with Micro Four Thirds in general, you get the advantages of a smaller sensor, less expensive cameras, and more reach with your telephoto lenses. And that's why I will probably stick with Micro Four Thirds for the foreseeable future for shooting birds and wildlife. I can't imagine carrying around a 5-pound lens to shoot birds and wildlife. And as I always say in my videos, you do need practice, and shooting small birds like this in trees is extremely hard. Now, one of my favorite captures was the American redstart, and that's a lifer for me. I believe it's a female. It was one of the most colorful birds I saw in that location, and I shot it with the OM-1. I tried to get photos of the bird again with the G9 Mark II, but I never saw it again. So that's the thing, you always have to be ready. Another favorite bird of mine is the Wilson's warbler, and I only saw it twice in the 2 weeks that I spent filming clips and photos for this video. I was just excited to get anything, and I was hoping it would come back one more time, but alas, this is all I got. Better luck next year. So even if you don't see the birds you love, definitely photograph anything that's around, because you will get better and better, and you'll get more used to your camera, you'll get muscle memory, you'll learn how to focus better, you'll learn what settings that work best for you, and you'll be able to get good shots. So definitely don't forget to shoot any birds, even squirrels once in a while. They're always good to practice on. Are you capturing migrating birds this year? Let me know your favorite camera lens combination for doing that. And if this video has helped you, or if you feel inspired to support me, please consider buying me a coffee or giving me a super thanks. All of your contributions are greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Please stick around and watch another one of my birding videos.